bowing that the sound of this bell pervades the universal Dharma realm, bringing luminous white light to the black iron perimeter of hell, removing in an instant the suffering caused by the three evil waves. A mountain of swords is destroyed, and all sentient beings enter enlightenment together. Homage to the Master Teacher, Bharakana Buddha, compassionate Lord of the Lotus-born universe, expounding the treasured verses of the sacred golden text, contained within precious cases written on jade scrolls. Each dust mote interpenetrates, and the universe becomes one. Every realm is united with all other worlds. The truth is contained in the 1,095,048 words of the utmost vehicle's consummate teaching. Homage to the Avatamsaka Sutra, expounded by the Buddha. To understand the Buddhism of endless time, just penetrate this phrase: everything is created by mind alone. The mantra of shattering hell. Namuata Shijinam Samyak Samota Gujinam Om Ajna Baba Sijiri Namuata Shijinam Samyak Samota Gujinam Om Ajna Baba Sijiri Namuata Shijinam Samyak Samota Gujinam Om Ajna Basi Bati Jiri. Vowing now for the rest of my life not to give rise to extraneous thoughts, following only Amitabha Buddha. Thought after thought will constantly merge with the jays of his jade-like brilliance, each instant never leaving the qualities of his golden form. Holding a mala and bearing witness to the universal Dharma realm, empty space is but a thread, leaving nothing unconnected. There is nowhere that Rukana Buddha is not present equally. Through contemplation, seek Amitabha of the Western Shore. Homage to the great teaching master, Lord of the Western Shore, the Buddha, the Tathagata of infinite light. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. The land of ultimate bliss has 10 kinds of adornment. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. It is adorned with Dhammakara's vow, his cultivation cause. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the power of Amitabha's 48 vows. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with Amitabha's name and the brilliance of his life force. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the jeweled images observed by the three Mahasattvas. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the peaceful bliss of Amitabha's Western world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the jeweled rivers running with pure and meritorious waters. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the jeweled basilicas with halls of wish-fulfilling jewels. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with lengthy days and nights. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the Pure Land's 24 kinds of pleasure. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the 30 kinds of beneficial merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha, who is unparalleled in heaven or on earth. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He is also unmatched throughout the worlds of the 10 directions. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He has seen the annihilation of self in everything in the world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. There is no one who is like Amitabha Buddha. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can keep track of thoughts as numerous as all the dust motes in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can count all the waters in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can control the wind that fills space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. No one can completely describe that Buddha's merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha is omnipresent. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Keep your thoughts on him and never forget. As thoughts probe that place of no thought, the 6 sense gates will constantly emanate light of purple and gold. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha's face, like the full moon, is at the front of the hall of ultimate bliss. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. His jade exorcisms and his gold form radiate through space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. If a person call his name for only a moment, they will instantly consummate immeasurable merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Along with all sentient beings, I vow together to enter the sea of Amitabha's great vows, and to carry across sentient beings, so that I and others may simultaneously complete the path to Buddhahood. The sublime mantra of the original mind of Amitabha Buddha. Ayataho Aritara Sabaha Onyataho 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 Aritara Sabaha
Good morning, all. Ko is going to lead us in the heart stretch and the refuge.
Good morning, Sangha. We will start with the 3 refuges. If you have your books, you can read along. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And now we will do the Heart Sutra. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita perceived the emptiness of all 5 skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna paramita is the great Dharani, the radiant peerless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna paramita. Gate, gate, para gate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra.
Good morning, everyone. In Kent County, we have 4,793 COVID cases, 183 deaths, and 90 new ones as of yesterday. 90 new. In Michigan, 65,533. Deaths, 5,972. And new, 460. In our country, the US, 2,724,433. 132,313 deaths, and yesterday, 24,271 new cases. When we ask each other typically, how are you? How's it going? It's hard to say okay like we usually do in these times with COVID, political unrest, social injustice. It's hard not to get lost in the suffering. The title of our talk is Self-Love in these times. How are we doing that? Are we eating right? I know for a few months after this started, I was having a big bowl of ice cream every day. I decided after a while it probably isn't the healthiest thing to do. So trying to eat healthy, getting sleep, getting some exercise, connecting with our fellows in some way, whether it's a phone call, text, email, Zoom, trying to maintain a social life of some kind in these times. Have a constant dialogue going on in our heads. When we talk about the Eightfold Path, the way out of suffering, one of those is right speech. I don't know about for you, but for me, that speech can be unloving at times. Is it appropriate, timely, loving? A lot of the time it isn't. That real negative voice for me, when I think back, one thing in thinking about this that really came up for me was a situation in the 6th grade where I was going to get in a fist fight and I cowered and ran away. That's what I told myself. I was a coward. My father was a boxer, and he tried to make me into a man by getting into boxing. And I took my fear of being in a fight and developed it into a dialogue of, you're a coward. That eased somewhat, but is it appropriate? Is it timely? Is it factual? Well, I played 4 years of football and just jumped in there with the best of them and got my head knocked around. I protested in the 60s and early 70s with Cesar Chavez. I went on part of his 1,000-mile walk, put my life on the line for him. I had evidence that I wasn't a coward, but there was still a little bit of that voice in there that on occasion that would come up. I never was physically abused in any kind of way, but my dad liked to tease meanly, and he came up with a nickname for me called Lead Bottom. I have kind of a big butt. It took me until I was grown, had a couple of kids, and we were at a party. I must have been over 30 at that time. Still conscious, self-conscious about that. But my dad said, I was doing something, leaning over, and my dad said, "Hey, Lead Bottom," and I jumped on him. The first time I had really stood up to him, and I said, "No." And my mom, he said, "I was just kidding." And my mom said, "John, no." So those voices, the point is, those voices that we tell each other, are they really truthful? Are we carrying something that is no longer valid at all? I'm bipolar. I'm in a bipolar in the extreme Most of the time, my bipolar disorder, I managed with medication and it's fine. And for the last almost 13 years, it's been fine. But when this brain chemistry kicks into gear, if I'm telling you that I'm running for the President of the United States, if I'm campaigning, believe me, that's how far away I get. And in that process, I wreak havoc with friends and family. And as far as I go up, I go down into suicide. Several attempts. I certainly created an inner dialogue for myself with when I start to realize what I had done, how I had affected loved ones. How do I let myself off the hook with that? How do I make amends to others? And I did as best I could. My biggest amends is to keep my medication going and do everything I can not to allow that to happen, which, talking about taking care of ourselves, it's extremely important for me to get sleep, rest. I need to, if I'm stressing out, I need to take medication that will help me sleep. Eat healthy, stay healthy. What is that negative voice in your head? The Buddha story is an interesting story, looking at it from a self-love standpoint. I hadn't quite thought of it that way for whatever reason, but he was in extreme indulgence, and then he went into extreme denial of all bodily comforts, became an extreme ascetic. It was at the doorstep of death, and he finally realized that neither of those two ways worked. He was almost dying, so he ate a little something. I think that was his first step into true self-love. He took responsibility. We're responsible for this gift, our bodies, and he took responsibility for that. And he said, hold yourself as you would hold a beloved child. How are you holding yourself these days? Our first precept tells us to respect and protect all life, including us. Mahayana Buddhism, our ideal is the Bodhisattva. It's easy to skip over ourselves and go try to help others. My teacher loves to say 0 degrees of separation. So if I'm on myself, if I'm pooping all over myself with this negative voice I have in my head, then I'm pooping all over everybody in a sense, if you believe the idea of oneness, of 0 separation. And the opposite is true. If I'm loving myself, if I'm being gentle and kind, then that automatically goes out to the world also. How do you want to be viewed in the world? And how do you want to hold yourself? Buddha also said, you, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserves your love and affection. Affection's a real wonderful word. Look it up in the dictionary. A gentle feeling of fondness or liking. Can you say you're fond of yourself? Do you like yourself? Do you have a gentle feeling about yourself? For me, a lot of my childhood and adult life, I wasn't feeling gentle. When I would exercise, most of you know I'm disabled with a lower back issue. When I would exercise, I would still hear that little voice in my head from my football coach saying, "Never, wasn't fight, whatever that word was, work harder." That's the one. Work harder. Give more. And that was actually hurting me, physically hurting me at a certain point. I could do that as a younger person, but I can't now. I can't push it the way I'd like to. So that voice can still crop up. But an important part of solving a problem is to first realize it, to first realize that voice is driving you in an unhealthy way. So you become gentle and work with it. In recovery, we say we can't hate ourselves into recovery. We have to love ourselves into it. So let's do a guided meditation, a little bit of a guided meditation. And in this meditation, look at that. Bring up a child that you can behold, like the Buddha said, hold a beloved child. So let's prepare for meditation. So take 3 deep, cleansing breaths. And now imagine that you're holding that beautiful child. Someone that you know, sometime that you've done that, or you've held a little baby, and you were so overcome with the feeling of gentleness, affection, and love. And tell that child how much you love them. You love them. Breathe into that. Breathe into that vision. And now turn that around to yourself, to that child within, to that beautiful child that you are. And tell that child how much you love them. And if you have some amends to make to that child within, do that. I'm sorry for thinking you were a coward. I'm sorry that you think your body isn't good enough. I amend all that negative talk I've been giving to you. I atone. close with our closing gathas. If I can get to the page. It's page 9. And we say together, for all unskillful action ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddha's teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. Thanks, everyone. I think we have some people that checked in and said hi. Is that over on the right? Is that?
Yep. Good morning. We have Caleb, Susan. Good morning, Kate, Brian. It will be outside next week, weather permitting. No, I do not want to come sit in the sun with you. Yep, Susan will be up again next week. We'll be out again next week. Again, weather permitting. So yes, thank you so much for being part of the service today. Anything? All right.
Thanks all. Have a great day.
Have a great day.